Mae Garan Evans sy 'ma. I'm the host of a brand new Scarlets podcast. We'll be talking to players, bydd ni'n siarad I gyn chwaraewyr, siarad am unrhyw straeon sy'n dod o Barca Scarlets, a'n edrych am gemau Ewropeaidd, all things Scarlets for you as supporters and this great club. Shwmai pawb, croeso cynnes I raglen arall yng nghyfres podcast y Scarlets. Mae'n gred I fod nôl. Welcome everyone to the next episode in the series of the Scarlets podcast. We've got Section Paloise, Section Paloise, coming up at Barca Scarlets on Saturday. So the big focus is looking forward to our European matches. The last time we talked to three senior players, and we've gone a little bit older this time. We're talking to three retired Scarlet legends. No better word for them. As a quick introduction, I want to welcome John Fox Davies, Scotty Williams and Aaron Shingler. Boys, great to see you. Delighted that you've agreed to join us today. We're going to talk European rugby. We're going to talk a bit of French rugby, Northampton memories, and anything in between as well. So just to begin with then, all the three of you recently retired. Foxy, we've seen you doing a bit on TV, a bit of cooking. Motorhomes around New Zealand and base camps of Everest. What's retirement been like?
Well, a bit of everything really, as you said. Enjoying it, time with the family, and enjoy the broadcasting, going to games, watching games. Working with Christ College Brecon as well, head of the elite performance, which has been a great experience for me. And life's a good balance. It's nice coming back here as well to catch up with the boys, and I like to see Shings already promoting his business now with his jacket on. It's he's a smart cookie, Shings, to be fair, but no, all good with me, thank you.
Shings, GS6, bit of construction going on. How's that working out for you? Because you've been retired now, second season retired now,
This would be my third. Obviously, I was doing the building up about 5 years when I was playing, and then the last 3 years then full time. But it's going well. It has its challenges. I do get frustrated a lot, so I go in the gym then, and I can't hit people anymore on the pitch. But it's good.
You've also spent some time with the family. The three of you got young kids at home, but you've done a Lapland trip over Christmas, did you?
Yeah, that was pretty special. Obviously, when you're playing rugby, you don't get them chances, do you? So we went there, skiing, husky rides, snowmobile rides. It was special for the family. I enjoyed.
You were mentioned in the last podcast, really. I think Ryan Lyers, Cawdor mentioned you if you could bring anyone back to play now. I think they voted for you, Shings. Because I think Cawdor did do a poor impression of you, really, but he said more or less that, I could play now, so I don't need to train, just put me on there, I'll help you out, I'll make a comeback for you. Is that still do you still genuinely believe that?
To be honest with you, and this is the truth, I've genuinely texted Peely quite a few times.
Have you?
Over the 3 years, yeah. I thought, there's probably about 2 or 3 genuine occasions I thought I convinced them all that I was going to play. And I was prepping myself in the house, and I was. But it hasn't come around.
Did you miss it then? Do you miss playing?
Yeah, I'd say I do. And I do probably miss it a lot, you know what I mean? It's and that's why I do the training with the triathlons to sort of get that hit out, put my body through a bit of pain. It's bizarre, really. Do you know what I mean? But if you rung me now, isn't it? I'd play. I'd play the weekend.
Yes and no. Yes, sometimes yes. Sometimes no.
Scotty, a young family at home as well. You help us out here on a game day, don't you? You MC a couple of lounges, the Club Carwyn, And the Phil Bennett lounge, you help us out on a game day. Family come along occasionally as well. Still part of what we offer on a game day here at the stadium. But time away from the stadium, what you get up to now?
So since retiring, been coaching in Coleg Shigar. So they're under 18s boys there. Really, it's quite nice to go back to the college where I went and started, and trying to give a bit back there. It's been good. Learning really, the coaching side is kind of the easy bit really. It's just what kind of comes with the coaching off the field, and really enjoying it. Like I said, learned a lot, and doing the Scarlets 18s now, they're starting this week, so it's good.
Have you? It is different, isn't it, from your playing days? You do see it differently as when you hang up your boots and you look back at your careers. You do see a different side to prepping a rugby team. I look back now and I still think back as I was as a player and think, I wish I hadn't acted like that when you're the other side. Have you had any of those emotions when you look at the coaching side and the work that goes into prepping a team and getting them ready for performances? I wouldn't say any regrets, but it's definitely a different way of looking at things.
I suppose what's kind of hard is you're trying to compare the kids now of kind of how you were back then, I think, and I think you kind of probably forget that you probably were a little bit like them back then, but in your mind you probably thought that you weren't. But I suppose this game has changed, isn't it? Since we came through, the game has changed. I'd like to think that we were dedicated back then. I felt, I'm sure you felt the same, and you're trying to put that into these 16, 17-year-olds now, and trying to make them realise, that it is a short career and you've got to put everything into it if you want to make it. You can do it. It's all on yourself. If you can't do the training for them, they're going to have to put the time and dedication, and got to build that resilience in at a young age, really.
I think society's changed.
Yeah.
The outlook from younger people is totally different. Maybe our generation, it moves on, and how you have to engage people. Kids today is totally different, and I think we played rugby. I might be putting words in, but I played rugby because I loved playing and I wanted to test myself at the highest level possible, and I'm sure these boys aspired the same as well. And I think you can see when there's a good one coming through. When you're a senior player, this one's got a good head on his shoulders, and 9 times out of 10 they prosper and then have good careers. So it's I imagine now trying to engage a youngster, trying to relate, that's probably the biggest challenge, probably.
The attention that young players coming in is just completely different. They're used to 2 minutes or 30-second TikToks on their phones. So just to concentrate and sit in a room and go through patterns and plays for 40, 50 minutes, maybe what you used to do for an hour, they've stopped doing things they aren't, just because learnings are different.
When we were Wales, I think the analyst at the time, Rhys Long, head analyst, said to the coaches that meetings couldn't be more than 13 minutes. That was our attention span. And they tried to keep the meetings pretty short. Obviously, at club level, with more time in the week, meetings would be longer. And I think when I first started, when you were playing, meetings were extremely
2
long.
hours.
Yeah. So no, I think everything changes, and everyone wants their information quicker now. Like you said, reels are 6 seconds or whatnot, and it's all about being fast. But then you gotta absorb the information and have the right information as well. You can't just watch it and let it go as well. So I'm sure there's a fine balance between that.
Yeah.
Are these, you're coaching these young boys, is it a lot of aggression you see in, because when I came in, there was a lot of boys I wouldn't say fighting, but it was close to it, wasn't there? There was a lot of pushing, there's a lot of, is that what it's like? Because these 18-year-olds now, they want it, isn't it?
Yeah,
are you seeing that?
I think in the college there's a handful, well, especially the forwards. I think a couple of them have been
always the forward.
Yeah, but it's like you say, it's a different generation, but they've got the edge and they've got the potential to be really good. But like I was saying earlier, it's whether they want it that much. It's not just what they do on the field, it's off the field and everything as well, what comes with it. And I think the sooner they realise that, they can do it and they get that bit right, I think they have really got a good chance of doing well. I think, some of them have come through, especially after playing some games. I think what I've learned is in training, you could have some of them and you think, they're not great, but you put them into a live contact scenario and, they look like a different player, and I think that's one of the learnings I've had with them is you kind of need to judge them on their games really and not just, they're in training.
You mentioned edge, and we're kind of quite serious really, but you mentioned edge. I would have been playing or come to the end of my career when you started, Foxy. I was team manager when you played your first couple of games for the Scarlets, so I remember you in Ravenhill, Scotty. I think probably one of your first away games, and Ravenhill is daunting, isn't it? You've got the crowd right behind you in the main dugout, and I remember, I think only 15 minutes into probably your second or third game, maybe for the Scarlets, you uppercutted Andrew Trimble.
Yeah, talking about edge. A bit over the edge, wasn't it?
But he clunked you one first, didn't he?
Yeah, he did cheap shot me.
Was that yellow card then, or was it?
No, I got away with it.
Well, it's right in front of the touch judge. I couldn't believe how you got away with it. I thought you were definitely off.
Yeah, he come on like a switch he was playing on the wing, and he come on like a switch with the 15, and the 15 dummied him, and I was ready to tackle him. Obviously didn't tackle him, he didn't get the ball. But then as I've turned around, he's hit me on the back of my head as I'm running back.
You just let him
and
out.
I don't know. My record before then of fighting wasn't great. I was taught to hit first really, but someone hit me on the back of the head, and I saw a bit of red. And he was sealing the ruck then as I've run around, and he was just looking at me smiling, and I couldn't resist myself, to be honest. And, I don't know how I got away with it, because like you mentioned, Guy, you were I think in the ruck as well. It was right on the touchline in front of the touch judge, and we didn't have the cameras they did now, but I remember looking back and he was flat lying on the floor, and I thought, oh no, I'm off. But I got away with it. So
but as a coaching group then, we were all looking at this boy's got an edge, he'll do all right,
I remember he used to be at the time showing it in the meeting the week after, and I was quite a quiet boy at that age, innit? And even I was like, happy days.
All the same.
Well, I don't think it was a European fixture, but we are here, we're talking about European fixtures. Scarlet's synonymous with big European victories. I think there's 12 European quarterfinals, 5 semi-finals, 4 of which are in the Investec, the Champions Cup. You three were a big part really of the 2017-18 European Cup run.
Well, I was injured that year.
What, all year?
Well, from about November. I did my foot, so I was out for the year.
Oh, so it was Hadley and Scott there.
Hadley and Scott played the year, and I was like a cheerleader. well, we actually, injured boys, we had a trip to Dublin to support the boys. 6 of us went to support. We flew out on the Friday, stayed in a hostel near the Temple Bar, and I don't think I remember watching the game, to be honest. But
I remember seeing you.
Well, I think the injured boys, I think one of the boys had an ankle injury, sprained his ankle on the way to the game, and after the game we were getting seen by the physios and the players weren't. But yeah, it was.
The only had to do interviews at half time.
No, that was the final. So it was. Good times that year. But yeah, these boys played a big part in it. So I didn't. You carry asking these boys.
Memories of that season, boys? What would stand out? There were some huge games.
Yeah, it was a big game. It was a big game here, wasn't it?
Toulon was one, but La Rochelle as well.
Yeah,
two huge games. Toulon being the heavyweights of Europe at the time as well.
Well, I remember the La Rochelle. Just the atmosphere on the ground. I think it took you park in the car park here, and it's 50 metres, and it probably took me half hour. Just because it was just that many people, and I used to come 2.5 hours early, and these people were ready for it. The fans, it was brilliant. And then obviously running out then, and it was just great atmosphere, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think didn't realise at the time. Obviously knew it was full. There were temporary stands up and everything, but this wasn't that long ago, maybe 6 months ago, I saw a clip of the game and really then realised, like, oh, it was bouncing there. Like, how many people were actually in the stadium, and obviously going on to win then. It was probably one of the biggest games in terms of Scarlets I think I played with, and to see Llanelli like that was great.
There was a couple of years, wasn't there, really, of winning the league the year before, 16-17 season, and then 17-18 got to the final of the URC as it is now, and the semi-finals of Europe. There was a couple of years there where we put some great rugby together and had a cohesive team, which sort of a couple of changes, a couple of boys in and out, but people playing well and understanding each other.
Well,
and
the squad was so strong, and I remember the one game I remember watching was the Bath game. I think we picked up a couple of injuries in the warm-up, also just before, like the day before, and on paper quite a few changes, but the boys went to Bath and put up a hell of a performance, and the way they played was fantastic, and that I think has epitomised how like the Scarlets always want to play in Europe, and the fans loved it, and we've always had great support on those away trips across the border to England as well. I always remember a few of them, like the amount of buses and stuff like that going to the games, and great memories.
Yeah,
Toulon as well, isn't it? Where you come off of the bus.
Yeah,
and you have that
on the away matches,
and do you know what I mean, the travelling support there, and you just walking through a tunnel with everyone chanting, and they're good days it were.
Yeah, there's a big away match coming up as well to Northampton. We'll talk about that now, really, before we talk about Paul. Northampton, take your minds back then to 2011. The three of you were playing in a European Cup match in Northampton. We were probably unfancied at the time, Scarlets. We weren't playing great rugby, we were okay, but then we had an incredible win up in Northampton in Franklin's Gardens. Shingler was on the score sheet. What do you remember of that match?
Yeah. Obviously there was a kick off. I think it was Sean Lamont chasing it. A little bit of a knock on from him, but I was there, caught the ball, run round the winger and scored. But we were on the front foot at that point. I think that might have been the third try or something, and we had a good lead, and it was just the buzz, isn't it? The boys were just bouncing, and
that was like a smash and grab. That was.
Yeah, you just felt like it was just great to be a part of that, where everyone was just bouncing for it. They just wanted the contact, wanted the win. Obviously, when the final whistle goes, you just chuffed, really.
You could sense it as a player, can't you? Sometimes, even though you bring your own emotion, you can sense when everyone's bringing that same emotion and thinking, oh, actually, there's a tension there. Actually, there's a performance in this today, and even though you don't know you're going to win, there's going to be one hell of a game. Whoever you're coming up against are going to be under the pump, because there's a cohesive attitude somehow that everyone, you can tell everyone feels the same.
Like, I think the best games we played, even with the year we won the league, we wouldn't be massive shouters or talking. We'd be a relatively quiet changing rooms just before going out, but we knew that there was a certain look with the quality of player. We knew our jobs, our roles, and we went out there and performed. And those big games performance were probably you knew that there was in the change rooms before going out, really. But I remember on the bus up to Northampton that game, Lou Reed hadn't played much that year, and Rhys Thomas, the tight head prop, got into him on the bus and said, where have you been this year? You haven't showed up at all. You haven't been at the disco. And that was the whole thing for the next 24 hours. Lou, where have you been? You haven't been at the disco? And as he comes on, I think he just shouts out, Sticky, Rhys, I'm at the disco. I'm finally at the disco, like that. And, although at 60 minutes, you're thinking about, your job or what you need to do next. And that comes on, Lou comes on screaming that. It's, little things like that you just remember.
Yeah, one of the characters, wasn't he, Lou? I remember that game, actually. I think Jim Mallender was coaching Northampton.
Yeah.
His son, who I went on to have a career with Northampton at outside half and full back, he was the ball boy. And I remember that it was raining a bit and the ball was wet, and Smiler, Matthew Rees, was wanting to throw the ball in just with a normal line out, and he asked Jim Alder's boy for the towel. And he wouldn't give him the towel to dry the ball. So I was after chasing Jim Alder's boy down the touchline trying to get the towel off him, and he threw it into the crowd. I was in the crowd trying to get the towel just for Matthew Rees to wipe the ball before chucking it in. But there was a bit of edge, wasn't there? It was, we quite enjoy playing in Franklin's Gardens. It's a great place to go and play, and we've had quite a good record there over the years. You made your debut there in the friendly, Fox.
Yeah.
Along with Lou Reed and Ken Owens made your debuts there in 2006 in Franklin's Gardens.
Steve Jones' first game back from France as well.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, that was...
I played.
You played,
I did, yeah.
Were you first half or second half? Can you remember?
First half team.
I was second
I scored a try that one.
I remember, like good memories playing their first game. I remember Carlos Spencer was on the other for Northampton. Lou Reed threw a punch up at Steve Thompson.
Sent one through the scrum, first senior game of rugby for the Scarlets. But sent one through the scrum on Steve Thompson.
But I think Steve Thompson grabbed him by the neck, and Lou Reed instantly regretted it then. You don't normally see a 18-year-old second row sending a punch through on a World Cup winning hooker. But no, good. Like, seems a long time ago now, but loved that experience. We had a training camp down in Exeter, didn't we?
Yeah, Phil Davis coaching days, wasn't it?
That was nice. But
Stodds, Morgan Stoddard coming through at that time, wasn't he?
Yeah, Stodds was there. There was a group of us youngsters coming through at that time. Northampton. But I think you look at Europe, and over the years, like that Northampton game, London Irish, where they beat Leinster the week before in Dublin. Yeah, we turn up at the Majewski and turn them over. Yeah. And I think we had like 6 or 7 buses from Llanelli, maybe more.
Dan Ev scored then, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Dan Ev scored. And then, the amount of support was amazing. And then, remember Harlequins away?
John Williams try, yeah.
Like those, and again, the support those days were amazing. So I hopefully now at the Northampton game, we can see great support, and, I'm sure the boys will be looking to put on performance over the next few weeks to justify the competition. I'm sure there'll be disappointment over the last few weeks, but, this is a different competition, and I'm sure they'll be looking to put their best foot forward and, get some good results, because Powell will be a tough game, but every confidence in this squad that they can get the victory against them this weekend.
Yeah, we've jumped ahead to Northampton, haven't we? But taking it back to French rugby, Pau, Section Paloise, they're at the top of the French league. Is big budget, a strong squad coming here to the stadium, and we've always had lower budgets to play with than maybe English and French teams. But do you think of that as players at all, or is it just an opportunity, right, to show what you can do, even though we're probably not quite as well rewarded as the English and the French players?
Oxy was doing right, mind, I think. Budgets were right over here. Forwards budgets were a bit less back then, The backs were taking all the money.
Yeah. I think there was always that running, like, whenever we travelled to France, especially, there'd be, because you're in and amongst the boys for the travel and you stay in the hotel, you chat about, so-and-so's apparently on X or whatnot, and, this is a trial game to get, like, your big French contract or whatnot, and so that you'd always be aware that French rugby is far more well-backed. But, there was always, you'd always want to beat the big French team. And, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes, 23 boys working hard to get that result. They don't come easily, but when you do get them, you have to enjoy them. Trying to, like the La Rochelle game for the boys here, that team they had was full of internationals, and I imagine the budget was probably 3 times what the Scarlets was.
In fancy internationally, were they?
No, not many people do. I remember the year Toulon came down during COVID, and then they
mad.
buggered off
yeah.
there before.
Just didn't fancy it, did they?
Yeah, they just didn't turn up for the match, did they?
Well, they were in the hotel, and then, I remember Wayne James said, "Oh, they've got home. The kit man's come, picked up the kit, and they've gone back to the airport. They wouldn't play us." So it was. I don't think many people enjoy coming here, but you gotta use that to your best ability.
I think probably John will probably know more. I've been in Clermont, but I always thought that the French teams, they obviously target mainly their home games in front of their home crowd. And when the French teams used to come here, then we used to really think, right, we can beat these here because they don't care. They think they're going to come here, and they've almost given the game up in a way. But I think that's probably changed a bit now, do you think? Or is that still a little bit like that?
Well, when I played in France, we
used to play the away games all the time.
We used to, literally all the foreign boys would play away games because, it didn't, I don't think we get as bothered. I used to love going to away grounds because it'd be like, you hear the ground, the crowd's on your back, and you'd be like, right, I'll prove you wrong today. Let's go and get a result and shut them up. And, one of the years I played with Clermont, we broke the record for their most away wins that season, which was 9, which is a decent amount, but not like you would think be the record. But yeah, it was. It is a totally different. It is a different mindset. Home games, they do love, and I think maybe because in France a lot of the teams long bus journey. It's not the most. It's like it's hard at times, but no, I'm sure it changes, more professionalism, and French rugby has probably caught up to where like the Saxon British mindset of preparation and stuff has come in, because they were very traditional and in their prep, really.
You got to the final with Clermont, didn't you, of the Champions Cup? Yeah,
and then Lee Halfpenny was on the other team and kicked about 20 points and beat us. Yeah, devastated with that. But no, that, like, again, we had the semi-final against Saris in Saint-Etienne, which is a football ground, and there was like 42,000 people there. And then the final against Toulon, and they just beat us. I think Drew Mitchell scored a individual try. But yeah, Europe is the ultimate competition, and you see now how the likes of Toulouse, Bordeaux, Saris, everyone wants to be winning that competition. Everyone talks about that star on your chest, and Leinster haven't won one for a couple of years now, and it's the biggest club competition around, and you want to give the best example of yourself in this competition. So the boys have that this week now, an opportunity to really showcase the quality this team has.
I think if you think with Pau, I don't know, I used to always think that Pau was like one of the weaker French teams, whereas obviously that's kind of changed quite a bit now. As you mentioned, I think the second in the league. So it's going to be tough on the weekend. But I think, like we mentioned already, there's been a little bit of disappointment the last couple of weeks, and especially last weekend. But I really do think there's going to be a reaction this week, I think, from the boys' home game. Different competition, a chance really to try and prove a point. And he's still got a chance of going through into this competition. And the further you go into it, it really starts getting competitive and having some really good games. So I think the boys will be up for it on the weekend.
I was at the Bristol Pau game before Christmas, and Bristol came out all guns firing and blitzed them with, I think, 3 tries in the first 10 minutes, and then Pau didn't want to know. So I think, hopefully the boys can come out this week and have a great start and really, just get on the front foot. I thought the start against the Ospreys game, they played some good stuff, but they were just a bit loose at times and, respecting the ball. So hopefully if we can just be a bit more patient and build a game, and build an early lead, then, I could see Pau not giving up, but the way to beat them is really go after them at the start. They had a big loss last time out in Europe, and they'll have that in their mind. They'll have that doubt, and if the Scarlets can start well, then those memories of what happened against them in Bristol will come back in. So, really, really hope that the boys can get off to a good one and, build that performance.
Shings, how do you do that as a player? We've all been at teams where we're not playing as well as we would like, and we're in a bit of a bad run, and performances aren't what's expected. How do you then personally, and how would you as a group of players sort of begin turning things round? Foxy mentioned we've been a bit loose at times of late. How would you go about them?
I was always someone, every day really, I just give everything I had for that day. So I never really had that, sort of problem with, the last game. Maybe it didn't feel like they were up for it as much as they should have. So, preparation is key, isn't it? In training, you've got to be on edge. You've got to be pushing the paces. You've got to bring that game day intensity now and again.
I think the edge has to come through the week.
Yeah.
You can't just turn up on a game day these days and expect things to happen. It should be, like you said, drip fed at certain points in the week to really feel that your preparation's been good and at a level that's been of a high intensity at times. You can't just expect things to happen. And as players, I think we always were aware of what was needed. You'd always have a feel of where we were at and whether we needed to do a bit more contact or whatnot. But the coaches would be all over it in the planning. And for me, it's that, like what Shings has said, it's that preparation in the week. You can't just expect it to happen. It has to come through working hard, make sure you know what's expected of you, and then building and delivering on a game day.
There was a few of us at the time as well. And if the performance was off the week before, there would be a few players that would just be bringing that intensity, pulling the boys in, saying it's just not acceptable. These two would have been them players, but there was quite a lot as well. And there was probably 10 in there. There was a lot of boys took it on themselves really to make sure whatever week it was, they sort of led the week. And then you sort of shared that work rate, but that voice.
Yeah, you do. Rely on
it was
leaders.
It's big, isn't it? Maybe I had a poor game, and then so the following week I'd be sort of bringing that in training then, that bit more voice, because I wanted to prove myself to the group that I'm not going to let you down again. That's how I felt if I had a poor game at all, or there was a massive game coming. Like I always used to love the Ospreys games, and I always used to make sure everyone was on edge, because I was on edge, from minute one. So.
There'd be a different intensity to the working week being a European match. So Scott, wouldn't there, this week when prepping for Poe?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I remember when I was 18, 19, coming into Europe weeks, and I was scared to go on the field training because it was unbelievably physical. Those weeks they were special. You could see that everyone was on edge for the games, and Europe was so important then, and it still is now. But if you go back to when things are not going your way, and I just always think I used to get my confidence from my preparation. I knew coming up to the game, before going in the game, if I'd done everything in terms of what I needed to do in the week, what individually what you need to do for the week. And there'd be some boys who could literally they wouldn't need to train all week, for example. Like if you look at your brother, I'm not saying he didn't train all week, but he could do what he wanted in the week and get man of the match on a Saturday.
Different.
Well, that's different to like what probably three of us would be like in the week. So individually, when things are not going your way, right, okay, you need to ask yourself, have I done everything I can in the week to give myself 100% confidence then going into the weekend that I know what I'm doing, my roles, I've done everything I can, and the rest will just take a kind of care for itself, really.
You just hope everyone else is doing the same as you.
Yeah, but I think that's where everyone's got to drive that standard. And then if you don't do that, you're almost letting the boys down when you didn't. And that's the worst thing for me was, if the boys thought I'd let them down because I hadn't prepared or, done my role properly or whatever in the game, then that would be kind of the worst thing for you, really, as a player, is your teammates, letting them down. So
be interesting to see what it's like. I'd love to go in and just see how how the week is going.
Like you want to get in on the field.
I've tried.
From afar,
I've tried. I don't know. You just sort of from minute, like Monday morning for me on a big game, I was already on edge for the game. I was trying to relax.
You'd walk
you know
up
what I
and
mean?
down the corridor.
Yeah, I was just pacing the. I was, and I wasn't the only one. It was, but I was quite intense. I don't know what it's like. I felt when I was finishing that the people coming through, or the youngsters, it was very much a chilled feeling, like they didn't want to be on edge, but I knew if I wasn't on edge,
I think that's fine, because like I say, everyone's
different.
But then as long as, when it comes to the game, that they bring that.
Yeah.
I think if they're like that and then they don't bring that, then you start asking them,
I used to love feeling vulnerable. So if I felt vulnerable, that meant that I'm feeling the pressure. Yeah. I've got to be on it. I think that's what
that's exactly it.
I was right, I have to make sure that I'm ready to go. Where maybe it's a safer environment now. Which like you, I loved that edge on your toes and that responsibility. Right, if I could be made to look a fool here. We're playing against one of the best teams in France. They've got a massive budget. If I'm not on it, we're going to look silly. And that was where I have that, like what Scott says about the preparation and making sure that you were ready and comfortable. Because once when you've done enough of the work, and these boys will be able to look at them, each other after games and know if they were ready to go for the games.
If you did have an opportunity to go downstairs, Shings, and see
the
boys, what would your messaging be to the players? They've had they've had a tough run, and a couple of disappointing results, but to pick them up ready for the match, what would be your messages to the group?
I would say, can I train with you for starters? Can I join in? I would. I just like to see. I'd like to feel, what it's like now. But it's difficult. They've just got to have the passion, innit? Unless you're in that, you got to really look at someone's eyes. And that's what I used to do when I was playing. I just say, I'm going to go all with you on this weekend. And that's what we did, and that's what you're on in the change rooms. And you sense that in the change rooms. You looked around, and I always get, I was on edge, but I just didn't want to let anyone down. So that's what my message would be to the group. I'd be looking around the room and say, your back's against the walls now. Are you in it together, or are you going as individuals? That's what I would say to them. And I would say, you look around the room now, and how tight do you as a group? How tight do you as the coaches? And do you want to be successful as a team? And if you are, then, look each other in the eye and don't let them down.
I think our group of players were all from the area, and us local boys, I think, showed how much it meant to play for the Scarlets, and the foreign boys then got that. I think, you think of John Barkley, Tyg Byrne, those boys who played with us in and around Sean Lamont, he bought into the Scarlets because I think he saw local boys loving playing for this club. And, really, I think there's a responsibility on the boys that have come through from the area to really give the boys, foreign boys, show them how much it means. These boys will follow. The foreign boys, Sam Lousey's been great. Fletcher Anderson's been impressive. But I think the local boys need to really come to the fore and show what it means for them to play for the Scarlets. I think that's where I think you get that look, that knowledge of where the group's at, and it has to come from boys who, have an affiliation, grew up supporting the Scarlets and showcasing what it's all about.
I suppose though we'll see that on the weekend. I think because when the going gets tough, when you start losing games, you really see who really cares. I think, and it comes through. that's why I think there will be a reaction this week, because I think the local boys will probably be driving that this week. And Scarlets had a tough start to the season. It didn't go their way, but no excuses in terms of the travel disruptions they had, injuries. The squads aren't the size they were years ago, and you miss a couple of key players in key positions, and they can make a difference. Leading up to Christmas, Bristol here, I thought they put a good performance in. Bordeaux, was always going to be tough. I think you can take your best team out there and still come unstuck. But Osprey's game you mentioned, they started well. I think because we probably didn't score in that first 20-minute period, I think you start playing within yourself a bit there, and it's taken nothing away from the Ospreys. They came back into the game, and last week would have been the most disappointing one for them. And again, that's taken nothing away from the Dragons. They've really done well in the last 3-4 weeks to turn their season around. But again, early on had a lot of ball and a lot of phases and just couldn't quite score. And it's those fine margins that make the difference. And like Foxy's mentioned, when you play these French clubs, it's important you start the game really well. So I'm sure that'll be their focus this week of getting on the scoreboard early, whether it's 3 points, and building that scoreboard pressure, because the French, they don't want to say they'll fold, but that is their mentality. They're away from home and they won't give up. But I think if you can start well, then you're in good stead.
This squad has great talent. I think I look at the strength of the squad, and there's some great players across the board, and I think once they get into their rhythm, they can they showed last year. Most of the squad's still here from last year. They got into the playoffs, and it was a good year, and they just need to knuckle down and back themselves and have confidence in that. Yes, it's hard to have confidence when you haven't had the results that you want, but these boys be well prepared by the coaches, and I know they've got the talent. You've seen that in the past and the quality. So I think you just really hope that they get the opportunity to show the best account of themselves.
I think that's so good this weekend, though, is perfect for them in terms of a game, because yes, okay, they can still go through in the competition, but there's almost nothing to lose. So really letting the players go out there and just express themselves. Don't play within yourself, because in the league, when things aren't going your way, you kind of, if that offload's on or if something's on, you try and not give it because you don't want to make an error, for example. But I think this weekend now, just really the talent we got, like you say, and it can be dangerous. It's just really letting those boys loose and play with a kind of no fear. I know it's easy to say, but just really go out there and express yourself.
And look like they're enjoying it. I think you have your best moments, and they're being a professional rugby player is one of the best jobs. You can't call it a job, but it's one of the best things to do in the world. And as long as these boys are able to enjoy it, go out there, back themselves, and put on a show. I think they can do that, and everyone's working hard. Speak to my brother, everyone's like grafting hard, and it just sometimes takes a bit of time and a bit of luck, and hopefully this weekend's the time that it comes.
Yeah, a bounce for ball does make a difference, but a couple of those bounces, a couple of referee decisions that go your way can just turn around a season. Even in the successful seasons, we were 2 minutes away from out of Europe here at home to Benetton, weren't we? And it's a Steph Ev pops up and scores last minute try, and it's completely changed.
Getting away with a result like that.
That was a big.
When your luck's in, and hopefully the boys' opportunity, their luck will change, because they haven't had the bounce of the ball at all, to be honest.
That was when you were chasing me down, Fox. Was it that one? Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you on about the Pasture away with 95 metre? That was interception, Shings, wasn't it?
Interception, yeah.
And you had the Scottish winger.
Who carried you back?
I mean, it was you and George, I think.
Because I remember Max Evans was trying to chase you.
You couldn't catch me.
He couldn't catch you.
It didn't look like you were running fast. I remember, because I was blowing hard at that point. And I intercepted, and I looked, and I was like, oh my God, I got 90 metres,
So was Garan Jenkins the forwards coach in that match?
Yeah, I think so. Because we went out in Cast that night, didn't we? Went to the Irish bar.
We just we qualified there, didn't we? Because
we qualified for the...
that was it.
We went
That
to
was
Breathe
it.
and won in Breathe.
Yeah.
Who did we then lose to?
I think we lost to Toulon just as they were coming through, because we played Johnny Wilkinson, didn't we, in Toulon?
Yeah, that's when Sonny Bill played as well.
Yes, Sonny Bill played, yeah.
He gave me a forearm across the face.
As he does.
What year was that?
Don't know.
That's probably
it was 2011, 2012.
Me and Reggie were late to meet in.
What, pre-match meeting?
No, the post-match, because we had a meeting was called the next day after the game, and we went out.
You were sort of the dark horse, really, Foxy, weren't you? You were sort of in the middle of it, but never involved in anything.
I had my moments. Yeah, it was some good times.
Yeah, can't be coward or right, or just have to try and keep an eye on.
They'd enjoy themselves, no?
Yeah.
I think your mentality early on was good. Well, looking at you when I was a kid then coming through. I know I'm only not that much younger than you, but making you look older. But you put your body on the line on the weekend, and then I think if you get a good win, it's important. I think that you enjoy it, and I think people ask me about the career now, and I look back and I can remember games obviously, but there's some games I can't remember. But then it could be a win away from home somewhere, and someone will go, "Oh, I remember that game," and I'll be like, "No." "Oh yeah, you remember on the night out so and so," and I'll be like, "Oh, I remember now." It's those kind of memories. I think I look back and I think so happy I enjoyed it.
I think my first couple of years were like the last couple of years of the old school mentality. So like playing with Vernon Cooper and like Billy Bomb. Whenever you'd have like an away trip, it'd be like, pack your shirt, like you'd be okay, no worries. And then after the game, man, you'd go out and enjoy it.
It's still important, isn't it, that opportunity to bond with your teammates on a European game, and just to go out and have a couple of beers where they.
I think if you've deserved to. There's times where if you had a loss, or if there's big games coming up in the next couple of weeks, I think probably not the best idea. But then, if you're getting big wins on the road, and
as long as you train on the Monday, that was the key.
Got to front up on a Monday. Yeah,
front up on a Monday.
Yeah.
You can't go out and beer and then not train on Monday.
Underwritten rule.
Yeah. We had a few of those back in the day who would be protected on a Monday. They weren't big drinkers, mind, but if they performed on a Saturday, they'd sort of be looked after on.
David Lyons, David Lyons was one.
Yeah, I've seen him train Monday.
No.
I was on a bike on the side of the field.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, David Lyons. Yeah, great player for us for a season and a half, wasn't it? David Lyons, wasn't he?
He had 3 years, is it? I think he had 3 years.
Oh, should he have that long?
Yeah. I remember the first year, he didn't miss a minute, did he, the first game?
I think
Yeah, property and stuff, was he?
Yeah.
I remember we were going on the field to train, and he couldn't come on the field to start training because he was on the auction on the phone back in Oz or something, bidding on some houses. I'm thinking, this is nuts.
I think Mungo was trying to get him to train. He was like, "Sorry, mate, I'm listening to an auction."
He used to stay in the Premier Inn here, didn't he? Night before the game, he had young kids, and he thought, there's no way am I going to get any disturbed sleep. So night before the game, he used to stay in the Premier Inn and leave his wife look after the kids at home.
Ultimate pro, wasn't he?
You got to do what you got to do, haven't you? Right, boys, we'll bring it ahead there. Just want to thank you all for your time, for making the effort to come and see us, come and chat, being so open and honest with plenty of things. It's great to see them. 3, as I mentioned, Scarlets legends, recent Scarlet legends and modern day Scarlets legends, back at Parc y Scarlets. Hopefully catch you here Saturday as well. We've got Poe, obviously, at home. Adult tickets, 20 quid, juniors, 6 quid. It'll be great to see you all here supporting the boys on a massive European night. See you soon. There'll be another podcast before the end of the season, I'm sure. But boys, just thank you for now. And we'll catch you all soon.
Cheers, Gav.
Diolch fawr chi.
Thank you.